A cult is a group of people who all believe the same unsubstantiated set of beliefs. From the outside looking in, it looks crazy, but for the true believers, it just isn't questioned. Materialism is the belief in the primacy of the material world. That is the belief that there is an objective external world that endures, and that you and I are merely temporary inhabitants of that world. We don't typically think of this as a belief because, well, everybody knows this is how things are. But cults are perpetuated by the refusal to question their underlying assumptions. In this case, the assumption is that the physical form of the world is solid and fundamental. A consequence of this assumption is that consciousness must, therefore, arise from that physical world, or more specifically, consciousness must arise from the wet mass of neurons in your brain. But exactly how does this happen continues to mystify scientists. They call it the hard problem of consciousness. Most scientists assume that since the brain must be the source of consciousness, it's just a matter of time before they figure out the mechanism. However, the one thing we can be absolutely certain of is that consciousness exists. No one can claim that it doesn't, because you'd have to be conscious to claim anything. Our only contact with the physical world is through our perceptions, our sight, hearing, taste, touch, and smell, all of which require consciousness to experience. Therefore, our entire experience of the world around us is dependent, completely dependent, on our capacity of awareness. The world is an appearance within this field of awareness. No awareness, no world. So the cult of materialism insists that the world is fundamental and that consciousness is a derivation of that material world. Namely, consciousness is a byproduct of the activity of the brain. But our direct firsthand experience is that consciousness exists, and everything else, including these body-minds, is an appearance within the field of awareness. I understand that questioning the reality of the perceived world seems absurd. Cult members are faced with the same kind of blind spot. The first step to extract oneself from the cult is to question its most basic assumptions. In this case, it is the belief that consciousness is produced by the brain in the brain. Science has no idea how to explain how that happens. It's just a belief. The reality is that the only thing that we can be truly certain of in this moment is that awareness exists. What I am aware of is secondary. We're all entitled to ask, which is more fundamental?